Hello and welcome to SquishiVision. My name is Harris Crashy. This is my reaction to Moon Knight the Tomb. This is my immediate reactions. I've just watched it. I've not had a chance to kind of go through it, and as I mentioned in previous episodes, everything I know about Moon Knight's pretty much from this series. So we pick up from the last episode, and yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm very distracted because I'm working on a dissertation, so my mind's probably going to flop occasional places. But we got essentially most of the show actually was them going into a tomb. So it was a very Mummy-esque, Tomb Raider-esque adventure kind of deal. There was a short kind of segment where Lila fends off some baddies to come and shooting them by throwing a what's the word? Flare into a box of ammunition, which apparently works. But it ultimately didn't really go anywhere. And then as they ride to the tomb, Mark's like, it's going to be dinner, it's going to be about the body. Lila's angry at Mark for abandoning her, so she doesn't really, advocate much for Mark, and she's kind of like, well, I guess she's kind of teasing Mark by saying that she doesn't need him, and she's better off with Steven kind of deal. Which I guess was a bit funny to watch and listen to. And then they have a moment when they arrive at the tomb. Clearly, like, Steven's the more sensitive type and the more kind of honest and emotional type, and obviously stuff's kind of more attractive and something stoic and untrustworthy. And yeah, they go into the tomb, and shows like, is this adventure, is this horror adventure? Am I gonna get spooked? Not really, actually, which I'm glad to say. But they like come across, and I think, to be honest, as someone who's a nerd, I love seeing nerds in like very exciting places. So I love how kind of Steven's Sherlocking out their area and being like, oh, this is the ship of the Eye of Horus, and the Horus means so and so, and it's but oh, this is the correct path in the maze. And that's like, I just love kind of something when they be really nerdy on TV. I love nerds on TV, and I love because and I like how Lila's just like, yeah, I like this guy's brain. And then they basically go into another part of the tomb where people are being viscerated and mummified. And they find like fresh, flesh, which is for Marvel quite gory, like bits of this like flesh just lying on a table, like it's having been ripped off, like chunks lying around, and like a fresh like blood. And I like how Oscar has a pretty accurate script, pretty accurate representation of someone who's used to seeing blood gagging outside of blood, because you don't often get that kind of, not, I think often if you see it's comical, it's like ooh, but he actually, he's more subtle. He lets his voice kind of break slightly, and I do like that. And as they kind of look for a way out of the room, a kind of, I guess, I can't remember what the actual priest kind of name is, but essentially it's a mummy, drags a mook that it's captured, and I think the mook's still alive, it's really injured, but then like, the mummy starts eviscerating him alive, which is quite a violent imagery, and fortunately we don't get any indication that the mook lives much longer after that, which I guess is great, and starts pulling out bits of flesh from their chest, which is like yuck. I should add, I mean, I'm not someone who likes gore on TV, as in like, I'm queasy, and not that I think it's ethnically wrong. I'm fine with gory stuff, and when I shoot films I will be a bit gory myself. I just don't like gore on screen. I'm kind of queasy, which is weird because in real life I do medical cover. But like real life gore I'm fine with, because that's not like in your face and dramatized, but this is like anyway. So I should add, if someone's like me watching this and be like, oh, that's what's on TV this week, I'm gonna watch that. We don't actually see it. We hear it more when we see it. We cut around it. You don't see anything graphic. It's more implied, but it's implied quite violently. And eventually we kind of hears that they're in a room with them, and gets when it's very kind of mummy-esque. A chase happening. There's a really great sequence where Lila kind of traverses across a canyon, and then as she mentions, an alarm comes out and tries to grab her, which I think is one of the few jump scares and it's a very light jump scare. And when she tries to avoid it, and then it kind of grabs her anyway from the other side of the canyon. And it's weird. It's shooting in a very interesting way. It grabs her, kind of pulls her into the darkness. We kind of slowly follow, and it kind of like there's a long period of that shot where we don't actually see anything. We're just kind of slowly dollying into like darkness. And then she suddenly kind of pops out again and she's managed to escape, and then immediately gets grabbed and dragged back in again, and again long darkness, and eventually she gets pushed out and the camera dollies back with her, and apparently she managed to like rip off the arm. And then there's quite a violent scene where the creature jumps on her, starts choking her, and then tries to like stab her eye out with the end of his bone in his wrist. It's like, eek. And like she eventually manages to like put a flare into his eye, which I guess is enough to pull up a zombie and throws him off the edge of the cliff. And then Harrow's watching, and Harrow basically reveals one of the few kind of actually coherent marks of backstory that I'm following in this show so far, that Mark was, well, he implies Mark killed her father, but then Mark later admits that he didn't kill her father, he was just simply present and slightly responsible in that he was the one who brought the person who did kill her father along with him, and then that person who tried to kill her father did try to kill Mark, who tried to stop him killing his father, which is a bit coherent. And I guess so my theory at the moment, looking about the lore of Moon Knight, is that Mark is the original being, and then as the kind of even the country for some reason, Steven kind of became part of that, and they had that split personality, or they always got split personality. It just, I don't know, it just like kind of it was more manageable before the country deal. Like it wasn't like actual split personalities and somehow by being resurrected it then actually became actual like Gollum Smeagol type split personality, rather than just like schizophrenic voices in your head. And so yeah, and you know, the actress who plays Layla, I forget her name, does a fantastic job of like just showing the kind of grief, but like it was good because, like, you know, usually when the villain's like, oh, I know this dark secret about your friend, and the hero's like, I'm not gonna believe anything you say, and you know, sometimes storms off without hearing it, or sometimes like kind of, you know, he says, no, you're wrong, you're lying, and to Lila's credit, she like doesn't accept what he says, but doesn't dismiss it either, which is a very pragmatic view, because, you know, it annoys you in fiction. The villain, when they reveal the secret, isn't no, either the villain's about to reveal something that's true, and the hero doesn't stay around to hear it, and then they don't find out until later on, and it causes complications, which I don't like. Complications due to communication and really annoy me in fiction. Or he's going to tell her a lie. The villain's going to tell him a lie, and he's going to tell them lies when they listen and they believe it without checking with the hero first. So that was kind of thing where he was telling the truth, but she also just stayed to listen. And then she was like, you know, and like, if she actually gets it, she's like, you know, no one, you didn't know what happened to your father, did you? And she's like, oh, you're going to tell me Mark killed him. And he's like, well, yeah. And then she's like, okay, bye. And then she goes on, and first thing she says is, I want to speak to Mark and ask him about it. And she asks Mark, and Mark honestly says he didn't kill her father. But then she gets it as well. What he's not telling her is that he was present, and he kind of admits to that. That's a very pragmatic way to do the dialogue, and I appreciate the fact that they did it. And we didn't just, you know, do the old cliches of miscommunication. Because, I mean, we are 4/6 away from the show, so again, it's time. Sorry if I'm balancing a bit. I kind of pulled apart and lost my back aches. Yeah, whatever. Pain, no, this is the joys of being disabled. And then, you know, the other annoying thing is that they didn't use the opportunity to kind of escape, and I do, you know, Lila probably was being deliberate, because, you know, if they escape, then Mark was just gonna not tell her, so she needed to put a lot of pressure on him in some kind of the only way. But it means that Mark can stay behind to buy her time, and Harrow essentially just like shot him after basically saying, a nice moment where he was like, you know, I relate to your situation, you don't control him anymore, you got a nice kind of peace, and then he's still like, well, I'm not gonna, you know, acquiescence to you, and Howard basically shoots him twice, and he falls into the water. And then we cut to a nice kind of 4x3, very WandaVision-esque into sequence where we see a fake film, like very kind of 70s tomb adventurer plot, and then it's revealed, I guess, a sequence where we see, you know, a whole kind of Wizard of Oz sequence where a lot of the kind of supporting cast from the previous episodes play people in a mental health institution, and Mark's there. He's being stated and treated by Harrow, and eventually he escapes, and he finds Steven in a tomb who he's able to tangibly interact with. Passes another tomb which I guess has Jake in it. Hey, I don't know who Jake is. I just see people mention Jake a lot on memes. I'm assuming it's like a third personality, and so I assume that's who's in the second tomb, or second sarcophagus, I should say. And then a hippo appears, and I'm nothing. I don't know what the hippo's about. Yeah, so this was not as like kind of wild. I don't know. I guess the Tomb Raider stuff was quite interesting, and it was very well shot. Recently come out, shoot my own kind of monster. Don't you hear that fart? Ooh, she's amazing to a clip. Paris farts. I don't know how clips look on YouTube. I guess we're gonna find out. It's gonna be something from Harris farting. What was I? Yeah, so I like to be about, you know, having made this sort of a horror movie, I can like appreciate kind of what they were going for. I liked kind of the realism and the kind of like the whole, just like the whole kind of like, it was fun. It was fun. I didn't really get the kind of, I know it's a reference to like, I know it's a reference. I guess you can't, you know, talk and fart at the same time. Like I can't have both ends of my body open. Weird that, isn't it? I know the Mental Health Institute stuff is like based off the comics, but based on the show alone, I'm like, well, I don't know what this means. I mean, to me as a viewer, it seems unlikely that the reveal is going to be, you know, placing this show in the large scale of the MCU. Unlikely the reveal is going to be actually he wasn't a superhero at all. This is all a dream kind of being. I mean, even in most fictions, it was all a dream thing is very hard to do, and this doesn't seem to be an execution that would go off well. So which means that basically the tangent, the fake out, which kind of spoils the whole mystery of it. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, people who are bigger fans of this show on the Geek apparently think that might not be the case. So who knows? But I guess we'll have to tune in to see where we go with this and why is the hippo. But I'm like, yeah, I don't really know what's going on. I hope it's just not fake out. I hope it's just not reality all along. I don't know how either of those would be satisfying. Satisfying. But then again, you know, I mean, WandaVision tried to go high concept, but it wasn't quite satisfying. Anyway, those are my 10 minutes thoughts on this episode. I'm gonna set up a live reaction to watch the 4 trailer because I have not had a chance to come to the station, so we'll give that a watch. And also, apparently, it was like a Lightyear trailer dropped today, so we'll give that a watch too. So, thank you for watching this reaction video, and I will also be live streaming later on in about, well, probably in around 12 hours time when I get the chance to watch. I started off more Northern American, now I'm going Southern American. Someone's going to be telling me I'm wrong either way. Now I'm just squeaky. But yeah, I'm going to do a reaction to Picard later on when that releases. So stay around for that. Stick around for the reaction trailers. It's going to be quite quick because I just got to write a dissertation in less than 96 hours. Ah!